Some sickness does not arrive loudly. It hides behind chores, smiles, and a mother saying she is fine. That morning, Tu Na still cooked porridge, folded Henry's clothes, and walked to the garden like everything was normal. But when Tang touched her cold hand, she understood what Alex had been too busy to see. Tu Na's body was no longer simply tired, and in a small wooden house where one child, one garden, and one family business depended on the same pair of hands, that quiet warning could not be ignored. Hello everyone, I hope you're having a peaceful and beautiful day. Today we'll follow Tang as she notices what everyone else almost missed. Tu Na was not just tired. Thank you. Tang nodded. Good. That is better. Alex walked Tang to the gate. The dust on the path had turned dark from the rain. The gate creaked softly as he opened it. Tang looked back at the house. She is strong, Tang said. I know. But strong people still need watching? Alex looked toward the porch, where Henry was now sitting close to Tu Na's knee. Yes, he said. I know that now. When Alex returned, Henry was touching Tu Na's fingers with both of his little hands. He looked worried in the way only a child can be worried, with his whole face open and unprotected. Dad, Henry asked quietly, why is Mom always cold? Alex stopped at the doorway. Tu Na looked down. The question was small, but it reached every corner of the house. Alex came closer and sat beside Henry. Mom has been doing too much, he said gently, so now we will help her get warm again. Henry looked at his mother, then at Alex. I can put my sandals by the door. Alex nodded. That helps. I can also not spill porridge. Tu Na smiled. That would help very much. Henry leaned against her knee. Then Mom will be warm? Alex looked at Tu Na's hands, then at the porch light, then at the quiet yard beyond the gate. We will do our best, he said. And sometimes that is where healing begins. Not with a perfect answer, but with a family finally noticing the question. Still moments when she said, I'm fine, before anyone asked. Still moments when Alex looked at her hands and raised one eyebrow. But the house had changed. Not in a dramatic way, in a livable way. The meals became simpler but more regular. The garden was not perfect, but it was cared for. Henry's clothes were not always folded neatly, but they were clean. The business moved slower for a few days, but it did not fall apart. And Tu Na began to understand that rest was not stealing from the family. Rest was returning herself to the family. One late afternoon, rain came lightly over the yard. The smell of wet soil rose from the garden beds. Henry stood under the porch roof, reaching one hand out to catch drops. Tu Na sat behind him with a blanket over her shoulders. Alex came from the kitchen holding a bowl. I made porridge, he said. Tu Na looked suspicious. With salt this time? Alex paused. Tang, sitting near the wall, started laughing. Henry turned around. Dad forgot salt again? Alex looked at the bowl. I remembered after. For a moment, the whole porch felt warm. Not because everything was fixed, because no one was pretending anymore. That is a different kind of peace, a fragile, honest peace. The kind built from small bowls of food, shared tasks, warm hands, and people who notice before it is too late. As evening settled, Tang prepared to leave. She touched Tu Na's shoulder. Tomorrow, I will come after breakfast. Tu Na started to say, You don't have to. Tang gave her one look. Tu Na stopped. Then she smiled. Because in many homes, everything feels urgent when one person is tired. The floor, the baskets, the garden edge, the laundry, the buyer message, the broken latch, the rice sack. But not everything is urgent. Some work can wait without damaging the family. Some work must wait, so the family does not damage the person. One morning, Tu Na looked at the board and laughed softly. "The porch sweeping can wait." Alex nodded. "The world will survive." Henry looked worried. "But the dust," Tang answered from the yard. "The dust can sleep there one more day." Henry seemed to accept this. That small joke became part of the house. Whenever Tu Na reached for one task too many, Henry would say, "Mom, can the dust sleep?" And sometimes Tu Na would stop. Not always. Healing old habits takes time. If we break the people making the work, we lose more. Tang, who had come to bring lunch, heard him and smiled without saying anything. The packaging problem did not disappear overnight. The copied idea still had to be handled. The buyers still needed reassurance. But now, Alex made decisions from a steadier place. He asked one neighbor to help with basket drying for 2 mornings. He paid a young worker to carry water instead of asking Tu Na to do it between meals. Tang prepared extra soup and left it in a covered pot, not as charity, but as family. Tu Na slowly accepted help. That may sound simple, but for someone used to holding the house together, receiving help can feel harder than giving it. There were still moments when she stood too quickly, but she stopped more than before. One evening, after the garden had been watered and the shipment papers were stacked neatly, Alex sat beside Tu Na on the porch. The sky was soft purple. The porch light glowed against the old wood. Somewhere near the gate, a bicycle passed slowly, its wheel clicking over small stones. Tu Na held a cup of ginger tea. Alex looked at her hands. "Warmer?" he asked. "A little." He nodded. Then he said what he had not said before. "I saw the boxes. I saw the buyers. I saw the problem at the shed." Tu Na listened. "But I didn't see you." She turned toward him. Alex's voice stayed calm, but it carried weight. "I thought protecting this family meant fixing what was outside. I forgot to look at what was happening inside." Tu Na's eyes filled, but she did not cry loudly. She only held the cup with both hands. "You were trying," she said. "So were you." That was the truth. No villain was needed. No shouting was needed. Just 2 people who had carried too much in different directions and had to learn how to meet again in the middle. The next day, Alex made one more change. At the storage shed, he told the workers the shipment would leave 1 day later. Not because he was giving up, because rushing had already cost too much. One worker frowned. "Will the buyers be angry?" Alex tied a rope around one stack of boxes and pulled it tight. "Maybe, but if we send badly, we lose trust. Not by saying, 'Go rest,' by making sure the child is watched, by making sure food is handled, by making sure the garden is not forgotten, by making sure the person resting does not have to listen to chaos and feel guilty." By noon, Tu Na's face had a little more color. She still looked weak, and Alex knew this was not something to ignore. He told Tang he would take Tu Na to the clinic if the coldness and weakness continued, and he placed money in a small cloth pouch near the shelf. That was another quiet layer of care. Do not panic, but do not pretend. A family can be calm and serious at the same time. The practical warning was simple. When someone keeps feeling cold, weak, dizzy, or unusually tired, do not only say, "Sleep more." Reduce their work. Give warm food and water. Let people help while it is still whispering. Tu Na looked toward the yard. Henry was crouching beside a trail of ants, asking Alex why they carried crumbs bigger than their heads. Alex was holding a watering can in one hand and answering with great seriousness. A small smile touched Tu Na's face. "I didn't want to become a burden," she said. Tang's eyes softened. Being loved is not being a burden. Those words stayed in the porch air. In the days that followed, the changes became more practical. Alex hung a small board near the kitchen wall. Nothing fancy, just an old piece of smooth wood with chalk marks. On it, he wrote 3 questions every morning. Who is watching Henry? What meal is already planned? What work can wait? The third question mattered most. What work can wait? He wrote his own name beside garden watering in the evening. He wrote, "Whoever finishes eating first," beside breakfast cleanup. Henry leaned over the table. "Can I have a job?" Tu Na touched his hair. "You are still small." But Alex shook his head gently. "He can have a small job." He wrote, "Henry, put sandals by the door." Henry sat straighter. That tiny job mattered, not because it saved much time, because it taught him that a home is not held by one person's invisible work. A home is shared even in small ways. The next morning was different. Not perfect. Different. Tuna still woke early, but Alex was already at the water jar. He filled the kettle before she reached for it. Henry carried his sandals to the door with both hands, proud and serious. Watch the symptoms and be ready to ask a health worker for help, not fear, preparation. That afternoon, Alex returned to the packaging problem with a different mind. He still had calls to answer. He still had boxes to check. The leaked idea still hurt. But now, he saw the business problem more clearly too. Their farm was not only vegetables, labels, and shipments, it was people. If the work grew but the care inside the house shrank, then success would become too expensive. Tang sat near Tu Na on the porch, cutting vegetables slowly. "When I was young," Tang said, "I also thought being strong meant never stopping." Tu Na looked at her. "And then?" "And then my body stopped for me." Tu Na was quiet. Tang placed the knife down. "Do not wait until your body has to shout." Tang softened her voice. "I am not blaming you. You have been carrying a lot too, but this house has a young child. Meals, childcare, garden work, business pressure. It cannot rest on one person until that person breaks." Alex nodded once. He did not defend himself. That was one of Alex's quiet strengths. When the truth arrived, he did not waste time pushing it away. He stepped into the kitchen. Tu Na was standing beside the table, reaching for Henry's folded shirt. Alex walked over and took it gently from her hand. "Sit down," he said. Tu Na looked surprised. "I'm fine. I just felt a little cold this morning." Alex touched her fingers. He did not speak for a second. Her hand was still cold. Not as cold as before, but enough. He pulled the chair closer. "Sit." This time, his voice was not hard, but it left no room for pretending. Tu Na sat. For a moment, neither of them said anything. The kettle was quiet on the stove. A small bowl of porridge had dried at the edge. Henry's towel hung from a nail near the door. Alex looked around the kitchen as if seeing it differently. Not as a room full of chores, as a room full of weight. Every cup, every shirt, every meal, every small thing Henry needed, every vegetable washed, every visitor greeted, every worry hidden so the house could feel calm. "How long?" Alex asked. Tu Na lowered her eyes. "I don't know. A few days, maybe." "A few days?" "I thought it would pass." Alex breathed out slowly. This was the second mistake many families make. They wait for the tired person to announce the emergency. But people who are used to caring for others often do not announce pain clearly. They make it smaller. They smile around it. They say they will rest later. So the family needs a way to notice before the body has to shout. Not a complicated system, a human one. That evening, Alex made the first small change. He did not ask Tu Na to explain everything. He did not turn the moment into guilt. He simply washed his hands and finished the work she had been trying to finish. He reheated soup. He folded Henry's clothes. He asked Tang to stay for dinner. Then he told Henry, "Tonight, Dad will wash your bowl." Henry looked amazed. "You know how?" Tang laughed softly. Alex gave Henry a serious look. "I will learn again." For the first time that day, Tuna smiled without forcing it. But Alex knew a warm dinner was not enough. A tired caregiver does not recover because someone helps once. The house needed a new rhythm. After Henry ate and Tang cleaned the sweet potato bowl, Alex placed a piece of paper on the table. He divided it into 3 parts: morning, afternoon, evening. Then he wrote the tasks that had been living silently inside Tuna's head. Breakfast, Henry's clothes, garden check, washed vegetables, kitchen cleanup, water jars, childcare, dinner, bath time, folding, porch, sweeping. The list became longer than Alex expected. He stared at it. Tuna looked away, embarrassed. "I don't do all of it every day." Tang gave a small sound. "You do enough of it." Alex did not turn the list into a lecture. He circled only 3 things: breakfast cleanup, Henry's afternoon care, garden watering. "These 3 cannot be yours every day," he said. Tuna looked at the paper. "But you have the shipment." "I have the shipment," Alex said, "but I also have this house." That line was quiet, but it changed the room. The practical lesson was simple. When a family is under pressure, do not try to solve everything at once. Choose 3 tasks that repeat every day and remove them from the most tired person first. Not always the biggest tasks, the most repeating tasks. Because repeated small burdens are often what drain a person slowly. A basket once is easy. A basket every morning while cooking, watching a child, and worrying about money becomes heavy. Alex wrote Tang's name beside Henry's afternoon care for 2 days. Tang came after breakfast and took Henry outside to feed the chickens for half an hour. Tuna tried to pick up the broom. Alex saw it. "No," he said. She looked at him. He nodded toward the porch stool. "Sit there until the tea is warm." Tuna almost argued. You could see it on her face. "I can do it. It's nothing. Don't trouble anyone." But then Henry ran past the doorway laughing, and Tang called after him, and the kitchen did not fall apart just because Tuna sat down. That was the first visible result. The house kept moving without her pushing every corner of it. This is important. Many caregivers do not rest because they believe everything will stop without them. So the family must prove, gently and repeatedly, that rest is safe. Henry was sitting with Tang under the side shade, breaking a sweet potato into small pieces. "Dad," Henry called. Alex smiled, but his eyes searched the porch. "Where is Mom?" Tang stood slowly. "She is inside, resting." That word stopped Alex. Resting. Tuna did not rest at that hour. Alex looked toward the kitchen. Tang walked closer and lowered her voice. "Alex, she does not look like someone who is only tired." His face changed, but only slightly. "What happened?" "She tried to keep doing everything, cooking, folding, garden, Henry, but she kept sitting down. Her hand was cold when I touched it." Alex looked down. The yard became very quiet. From inside the house, there was the soft sound of a bowl moving on the table. Tuna was probably trying to do something again. The morning began before the sun had fully climbed over the roof of the wooden house. The yard was still damp. A thin mist rested near the garden beds. In the kitchen, the old kettle gave a soft shaking sound as the water began to boil. Henry's little sandals were near the door, one turned sideways, one lying flat, as if he had run out of them too quickly the night before. Tuna stood at the stove, stirring a small pot of porridge. She moved slowly, not lazily, not carelessly, just slowly. One hand held the spoon, the other rested for a moment against the edge of the wooden table. Her face was calm, but her eyes did not have their usual light. Every few minutes, she looked toward the gate, then back at the pot, then toward Henry's folded shirt on the chair. It was the kind of morning where nothing looked broken, but everything felt heavier than it should. Henry sat near the doorway, pushing a small bamboo basket across the floor. "Mom, is breakfast ready?" Tu Na turned and smiled. "Almost, my little one." Her voice was gentle but thinner than usual. She poured porridge into a bowl, blew on it, and placed it on the low table for Henry. Then she turned to fold his clothes. One shirt, one pair of small pants, one towel. She pressed each piece carefully. But after only a few minutes, she sat down. Just for a moment. That was what she told herself. Just for a moment. Outside, the garden was waiting. The vegetables needed checking. The washed baskets near the porch had to be dried. The kitchen floor needed sweeping. "I think I didn't sleep enough." Tang did not answer. She stepped closer, took the basin from Tu Na's hands, and set it down. Then she reached for Tu Na's fingers. The moment Tang touched her hand, her expression changed. Tu Na's hand was cold, not cool from washing vegetables. Cold in a way that made Tang's heart tighten. "Tu Na," she said softly, "how long have your hands been like this?" Tu Na pulled her hand back slightly, still smiling. "It's nothing. The morning water is cold. I only need sleep." Tang looked at her for a long moment. That sentence sounded familiar. Mothers say it when they are hungry. They say it when they are dizzy. They say it when their back hurts, when their head feels heavy, when they have carried too much for too long. "I only need sleep." Tu Na lowered herself onto the stool. At first, she sat straight, as if she was still ready to stand at any second. Then slowly, her shoulders dropped. The porch light above her was still on from early morning. The old wood under her feet held the coolness of the night. She listened to Henry's voice in the yard and Tang answering him patiently. For the first time that morning, Tu Na did nothing. And doing nothing felt strange, almost wrong. She looked toward the kitchen. The spoon was still beside the pot. Henry's clothes were half folded. The garden path had leaves scattered along the edge. Everything was calling her name. But Tang's words stayed in her ears. Only sit. A household can look peaceful from the outside and still be balanced on one tired person inside. Alex was away dealing with the shipment problem and the trouble around the leaked packaging idea. Buyers were asking questions. Workers were waiting for answers. Boxes could not move until Alex found a way to protect the family's work. So Tu Na tried to stand again. A mother often does not stop because she is strong. Sometimes she does not stop because she feels there is no place to put the weight down. Tu Na walked to the porch and picked up the basin of washed vegetables. Water ran down her fingers. She looked at the gate. It was quiet, too quiet. Then Tang arrived. She came through the bamboo gate carrying a small covered bowl and a cloth bag. Her steps were steady on the dusty path. She did not call loudly. She only pushed the gate open, looked toward the kitchen, and understood that the house did not sound right. Usually, Tu Na would already be moving from kitchen to yard, from yard to garden, calling Henry to wash his hands, reminding Alex to eat, laughing softly when something spilled. But today, the house sounded careful. Tang placed the bowl on the porch table. "I brought something for Henry," she said. "Sweet potatoes? Still warm?" Henry ran to her immediately. "Grandma Tang!" Tang smiled and touched his hair, but her eyes were on Tu Na. Tu Na was standing near the porch post, holding the basin with both hands as if vegetables and water had become too heavy. "You sat down just now?" Tang asked gently. Tu Na gave a small laugh. "Only for a little while." But Tang had lived long enough to know that not every tired body is asking only for sleep. Sometimes the body is asking for help before it has to ask louder. She did not scold Tu Na. She did not make her feel weak. Instead, Tang turned to Henry. "Henry, come with me for a while. We will eat sweet potatoes outside and see if the chickens came near the fence." Henry looked at his mother. "Can I, Mom?" Tu Na nodded. "Go. Don't run too far." Tang took Henry's hand. Before she walked away, she pulled a small stool closer to the porch. "Sit here," she said to Tu Na. "Only sit. The vegetables can wait." That quiet help said more than a lecture. Because sometimes care is not a big speech. Sometimes care is taking the child outside so the mother can breathe. That was the truth Alex had not fully seen yet. Not because he did not love Tu Na, he did. But love can become busy. Protection can become focused on the problem outside the gate while missing the quiet collapse near the stove. That morning, Alex was at the storage shed near the road, checking damaged cartons and talking with a worker about the shipment. The family had worked hard on a new packaging idea for their farm goods. Simple labels, better boxes, a cleaner way to show the story of their garden and handmade products. But someone had copied part of the idea before the shipment was finished. The buyers were confused. The workers were nervous. Alex had been moving between phone calls, baskets, invoices, and the old wooden table where he kept his notes. He noticed the tear in a box corner. He noticed when a rope was tied too loosely. He noticed when a buyer's voice sounded doubtful, but he did not notice that Tu Na had been sitting down between chores. This is one common mistake in a family under pressure. The person solving the outside problem forgets to check the person carrying the inside problem, and both are important. A shipment can be delayed, a label can be printed again, a package design can be repaired. But when the caregiver in the house collapses, the whole rhythm of the family changes. By late afternoon, Alex came home through the gate with dust on his shoes and a folded paper in his hand. The sun was lower now. The yard smelled of soil and warm leaves. In the end, the biggest change in the house was not the chore board or the warmer meals or even the better plan for Henry's care. The biggest change was that Tu Na no longer had to prove she was strong by carrying everything alone. Alex learned that protection is not only standing at the gate or solving business problems outside the home. Sometimes protection is noticing cold hands, unfinished chores, quiet smiles, and the tired person who keeps saying, "She is fine." Tang reminded them that help does not need to be loud, to be powerful. A bowl of food, 1 hour of childcare, a hand on the porch, a simple sentence at the right time. These can save a family from waiting until exhaustion becomes something worse. A peaceful home is not a home where no one gets tired. It is a home where tiredness is seen before love arrives too late. And that night, under the soft porch light, Henry held Tu Na's hand as if his small warmth could help bring her back. Maybe in its own way it did.